Hello and welcome to Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai and Niakan coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at some of the major stories. Vice President Shettima says Nigeria's $3 trillion infrastructure gap better funded locally. Supreme Court dismisses Atiku's plea to file fresh evidence against Atiku. Plus, President Biden says U.S. to defend Philippines if China attacks over South China Sea. We will bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. We begin the news this afternoon from the national scene where the Vice President Kashim Shettima has said that the country's $3 trillion infrastructure investment deficits can be better funded by local stakeholders rather than foreign borrowing. Shettima said this at the opening ceremony of the third West Africa Capital Market Conference with the theme Infrastructural Deficits and Sustainable Financing in an Integrated West African Capital Market held in Lagos. The Vice President, who was represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Economic Affairs, Dr. Tokwe Fauswa, said infrastructural deficits in the West African sub-region means that the capital markets have to improve its operations. He advised stakeholders to encourage young West Africans to see the value in the capital market through the creation of apps, use of blockchain technology for transparency purposes, and more. Away from that, the federal government has announced that it had secured a grant of €1 million from the European Union to execute the instrument for nuclear safety projects in Nigeria after EU nuclear safety experts visited the agency. The NNRA, in a statement issued in Abuja by its head of Information and Protocol Unit, Ekaite Basi, said the discussions centered on the commencement of European instruments for international nuclear safety cooperation project on enhancing the regulatory framework for nuclear safety in Nigeria. The Director General, NNRA, Yau Idris, indicated that the implementation of the project will be closely monitored by the International Atomic Energy Agency to ensure compliance with international best practices and regulations. From the Red Chambers, the Senate has said that President Tinubu will present the 2024 budget to the National Assembly in the next 2 weeks. The President will also submit the supplementary budget for 2023 to the National Assembly for consideration. For Chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriations Solomon Adiola, who made this known during the inaugural meeting of the committee, stated that the National Assembly would ensure that the 2024 budget is passed before December 31st, 2023. Adiola, however, promised that irrespective of the lateness in the submission of the 2024 budgets, the Senate would do a thorough job. Now to the Green Chambers, where the House of Representatives has rejected a motion that sought to compel the federal government to make the 2023-2024 secondary school examination free for all Nigerians. The motion, moved by Anamero Dekeri, called on the federal government to make WAEC, NECO and JAM free for the academic session, but the lawmakers kicked against it. In the motion, Dekeri said the federal government has saved money through the removal of petroleum subsidy and should help families that are struggling. Following a long debate, Awadi Abiante moved the motion for the House to step it down, and it was adopted unanimously. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has vowed to probe oil firms operating in the country on allegations of failure to was passed following the adoption of a motion co-sponsored by Ikenga Ugochinyere, who called for the House's intervention, observed that Section 4, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended empowers the National Assembly to make laws for the peace, order and good governance of the Federation or any part thereof. The House is displeased that the 2021 Oil and Gas Report disclosed a rise in the number of unremitted revenues to the Federation amounting to $9.85 billion and a total crude oil and gas revenue of $23.046 billion, indicating a 13% increase from the total of $20.430 billion realized in 2020. On judicial matters, the Supreme Court has dismissed Atiku Abubakar's plea to file fresh evidence against President Bola Tinubu. Justice Inyang Okoro delivered the verdict today during the hearing of the appeals filed against Bola Tinubu's win at the presidential election. Justice Okoro noted that Atiku's attempt to introduce fresh evidence with a view to extend the time to adjudicate the case is unfortunate. He added that since the Presidential Election Petition Court has the jurisdiction to entertain fresh evidence, The Supreme Court also has no jurisdiction to accept fresh evidence. In a separate development, the Department of State Services (DSS) has released the former chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), Abdul Rashid Bauer, after over 100 days in custody. The Director of Public Relations and Strategic Communications of the DSS, Peter Afunaya, confirmed the release in a statement on the agency's official X account. Reports say Bauer was arrested and detained by the DSS on June 14, 2023, following an invite over undisclosed reasons after he visited President Tinubu. In another development, Enugu State government says it plans to transit from an energy-poor state to a commercially viable electricity market, generating over 690 megawatts of electricity and at least 20-hour per day power supply by 2030. The government also said that the urgency of the state in enacting the Enugu State electricity law to take immediate advantage of the 2023 Constitution Amendment and the Electricity Act 2023 to set up a viable Enugu electricity market and reliable energy supply is in tandem with its economic growth plan to make the state a leading industrial hub. This was made known by the Enugu State Governor Peter Amba during a roundtable discussion on the theme Electricity Act 2023, Implications and Opportunities for State Electricity Market. The governor, who was represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Chidebere Onya, said the state was deliberate in its efforts to create an enabling environment for energy players and investors to come in and help grow the state's GDP from the present $4.4 billion to $30 billion. Back here on the home front, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino yesterday recommended a more robust, collaborative and mutual beneficial relationship between Sterling Petrochemical and Fertilizer Limited (SPFL) and the host communities on the SPFL Gas and Petrochemical Free Zone project in Eastern Obolo. Governor Eno made the recommendation when he played host to delegations from the company led by its Chief Operating Officer Mohit Bharat and the Eastern Obolo community led by the Chairman Oil and Gas Committee, Professor Gamaliel Henby at Government House, Uyo. The governor, on whose instance the meeting was held, to get briefing on the company's operation in the state so far and the community relations issues, posited that there was need for optimum government involvement to moderate the company-community relationship to ensure balance between investors, comfort, survival, chances of the host community. To this end, the governor directed that the secretary to the state government constitute a tripartite committee involving the state government, SPFL and Eastern Obolo community, also recommending that the Commissioner of Police be included in the committee so as to be well acquainted with the fundamentals of the issues and be part of the solutions. Reaffirming his commitment to be governor of all, Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reports that the governor Eno said he will be willing to go the extra mile to ensure amicable resolutions in the investor community conflict interest of all, stressing that the state needs the investment as much as it needs guarantee of the survival of the Akwa Ibom people in Eastern Obolo. We move down to Africa, where the United States and Saudi Arabia have said that they will resume talks in Jeddah aimed at achieving a ceasefire in Sudan. Reports say representatives of Sudan's army and paramilitary rapid support forces RSF have arrived in the Saudi port city for the talks. Recall that previous peace talks in Jeddah city collapsed in June after numerous ceasefire violations. Still in Africa, Zimbabwe's main opposition leader Nelson Chamisa says his party will not participate in what he described as criminal by-elections to fill 15 seats for members who were controversially recalled from parliament. Reports say by-elections have been scheduled for December 9 after the parliamentary speaker declared the seats vacant following a declaration by the interim Secretary General of the Citizens Coalition for Change (CCC) party, Sengezo Sambangu, that the members of parliament were no longer members. Mr. Chimbasa dismissed the recalling of the lawmakers, saying his party will not waste time participating in the unconstitutional by-elections. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden has warned China that the U.S. will defend the Philippines in case of any attack in the disputed South China Sea. The comments come days after two coalitions between Filipino and Chinese vessels in the contested waters. Reports say Manila had contested Chinese claims to the waters, cutting floating barriers and inviting media to film what it calls Beijing's dangerous moves at sea. Still on the foreign scene, Mike Johnson has been elected Speaker of the House of Representatives, ending weeks of chaos and Republican infighting on Capitol Hill. The conservative Louisiana lawmaker won with 220 votes in the lower chamber of Congress. Johnson is the fourth Republican nominated for the position since Kevin McCarthy's ouster on October 3rd. Reports say Johnson's success in the hard-fought Speaker battle represents a victory for the ideologically right-wing, Trump-aligned faction of the Republican Party and a loss for its moderates, whose candidates struggled to gain traction among conservative representatives on Capitol Hill. Still to come in the news. NPFL announces fixture change. Stay with us for details after the break. And now to the rest of the news stories. On our business news, the federal government, during the commissioning event of the Mission to Seafarers Center, he explained that the reconstruction of the facility would scale up Nigeria's rating in the global maritime community. The former Osun State governor added that improving Nigeria's trade balance is crucial to strengthening the value of the naira. We move down to health, where the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ali Pate, has debunked the misconception about HPV vaccine, stressing that those refusing vaccination are making grave mistakes. Pate made this known in Abuja after a visit to the Kochingoro Primary Health Care Center in the company of Professor Sainat Faija. The minister noted that the vaccine was safe for girls as it would serve as a lifelong prevention against the disease. Reports say HPV is the most common viral infection of the reproductive tract, mainly transmitted through sexual contact. Move now to sports, where the organizers of the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) has rescheduled some of the match day 5, 6 and 7 fixtures. The encounter involving Rivers United and Lobby Stars at the Adokiye Amir Stadium has been rescheduled to Sunday, October 29. Other games postponed are the Doma United versus Bendel Insurance side and Lobby Stars against Rangers. Meanwhile, the match day 6 encounter has been shifted from Wednesday, November 1st to Thursday, November 2nd. Bendel Insurance and Remo Stars match day 7 fixture has also been moved from Saturday, November 4 to Sunday, November 5. The NPFL Chief Operating Officer Davidson Owomi stated that the rescheduling was due to logistics reasons. On our entertainment news, That's True, a 3-minute short film released ahead of Nigeria's 2023 elections, won a prize at this year's Cannes World Film Festival, adding weight to the perception that 2023 is the year of Nigeria's emergence on the global cultural stage. Directed by British filmmaker David Simon and released in January 2023, That's True is a compelling political drama steering Nigerians to change the directory of the nation using their democratic power. The film opens with a stirring montage of scenes from Nigeria's Independence Day in 1960, a time of hope and optimism for the young nation. The movie captures the vibrant colors and infectious energy of Nigerians as they celebrate their newfound freedom. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do well to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai Anyekan. We'll join back the NTN now for the rest of the broadcast on the judgment.